A jury in Hamilton, Ontario has found a man not guilty in the shooting death of a Good Samaritan. This case involved a teenager who was killed outside of a mosque in 2017.
Obviously, we're a little bit disappointed in terms of what happened today, but the citizens of Hamilton have spoken. They spent the better part of a day deliberating, and they've come to their decision.
The jury acquitted 21-year-old Dale King in the death of Yosif Al-Hasnawi. King was charged with second-degree murder. He admitted shooting Al-Hasnawi, but claimed he acted in self-defense. So here to take us through this story is Arthi Pohl. Arthi, what happened in this case?
You know, this was a case that really brought up a lot of questions about racial discrimination, about being a Good Samaritan and intervening also in some situation that it appears Yosif Al-Hasnawi was witnessing. So let's take our viewers back to December 2nd, 2017. Essentially what happened was Yosif Al-Hasnawi was outside of a mosque. He was, as you mentioned, giving a talk inside, and he went outside for a break. There is an image of him there. And he was with his 13-year-old brother, two 16-year-olds. He witnessed Dale King and Dale King's friend harassing or bothering an elderly, vulnerable man and essentially yelled out for them to stop it. It turned into an altercation. We know Dale King crossed the street with his friend, essentially punched Al-Hasnawi in the face and then flashed his weapon, his gun. Now, after being punched in the face, of course, there was a confrontation, and Al-Hasnawi ran after Dale King and his friend, who ran away after punching Al-Hasnawi. It turns out then he turned around, shot him in the abdomen. You heard there, or you read that, in fact, he admitted to doing that. And we know that Al-Hasnawi died within an hour of being taken to the hospital following that. But a jury today found him not guilty of second-degree murder in that case because the defense argued that he was acting in self-defense. He was intimidated by Al-Hasnawi, who was running after him, that Al-Hasnawi was larger than him. And so that is essentially the decision that we found today. You heard the detective of the homicide unit right off the top saying that they were disappointed in today's decision. We also did get a chance to hear from the lawyer representing Dale King, who said that this was a fair ruling.
Yeah, the police referred to this case as the Good Samaritan case. So what more are we hearing from Hamilton Police on this?
Aside from saying that they're quite disappointed with how this turned out, they also said that they've been in contact with Al-Hasnawi's mother and that she is understandably very upset and disappointed with what's happened. A lot of people who were in the courtroom, I've been reading their reports, and really there wasn't a lot of emotion because she's in shock still that essentially her son, who was a university student, was aspiring to be a doctor, was killed in this manner where police are calling it a Good Samaritan case. So that was one of the things that we heard from the detective with the homicide unit, and here is a little bit more of what he had to say.
I mean, with jury trials, you really don't ever know how it's going to go, and we try to present the best case possible, and lawyers on both sides work very hard on this case. So when it gets into court in front of a jury, it's into their hands, not ours. So I think Yosif was framed early on, and I stand behind that. And it's a night I'm sure everybody wished didn't happen.
All right, so again, King is found not guilty of second-degree murder. We should also make note that there were a lot of questions, as I mentioned, about the paramedics. We know that it took them 38 minutes after arriving on the scene to take Al-Hasnawi to hospital. And in fact, they are facing a trial, charges of failing to provide the necessaries of life, and their trial is in January.
Okay, thank you, Arthi.
You're welcome.